We are going to continue our conversation about news coming out of Climate Week with a partnership. I know Amazon announced a partnership with water.org to provide safe water to 100 million people. Tell us about it.
Yes. So Amazon, for the first part of the week, Amazon announced the partnership with water.org to launch the Water and Climate Fund, which is focused on climate resilient water and sanitation solutions that will give access to clean drinking water to 100 million people across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And to kickstart the fund, Amazon is donating $10 million, which will directly empower 1 million people with water access by 2025. And with that $10 million, will provide 3 billion liters of water per year in areas facing water scarcity. Other projects that $10 million will cover will include water reuse infrastructure, wastewater treatment plants, and water loss reduction.
That's
And
really
this is
cool.
so important because as the overall temperature increases across the globe, more people are facing problems with their water supply. I mean,
Right.
especially people in impoverished areas, because they often lack access to reliable water, then lack the funds for sanitation systems, and are struggling to navigate droughts, shifting precipitation patterns, and then, of course, the impacts of other weather disasters.
I think that so many of us take water and clean water for granted. And yet, here in the United States, we have Flint, Michigan, we have Jackson, Mississippi, we have, the Colorado River drying up. We have serious drought problems in the West. We have, California mandating, how often and how much you can water your
Mhm.
yards. And I read a really interesting article today about the water situation here in the US, which is different than it is in developing countries. And all of our problems, we still have a much better lie, right,
Mhm.
than a lot of these countries have. But one of the things that this article was talking about was almond production. And actually, the biggest use of water, for instance, in the state of California, is not humans, it's agriculture.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so then when you start thinking about, what are we going to do? How are we going to, the supply of almonds, right? Which a lot of, I mean, that's a really big market, is uses so much water. It's incredible. Actually, there was a great episode of Goliath, or a season of Goliath, Billy Bob Thornton's Amazon Prime series, and it's been out for a few years. But that whole episode of that show focuses on California and almond ranchers. And it's really a fascinating, I feel like I know so much about the almond production industry, basically because I watched that series. But the reality of it is a huge problem. It is a huge problem in developing countries. And so this is really great. This will make a big difference.
Yeah, and to continue on that, I think one of the things here in the United States, we hear a lot about our own water issues, like you said, but we don't often hear about the water issues that people around the world are facing.
Right.
I went to water.org, which is Matt Damon's
Right.
nonprofit. I went to their website today and read some statistics, which were actually really shocking to me. 771 million people, which is 1 in 10 people, lack access to safe water in their home. And 1.7 billion people, which is 1 in 4 in the world, don't have access to a toilet. I
Right.
mean, that's just shocking. Um, and then also by 2025, 50% of the world's population is projected to live in water stressed areas as a result of climate change.
And so, you know, bottom line, we don't have time to waste here.
We don't.
So, it really is. I feel like a lot of the ways that we have collectively, the world over, dealt with these thorny issues, and sometimes they're mired in politics and that sort of thing, has just been like, we'll worry about it later, and we don't have any more laters to worry about it. So
It
it's
is
really
later
great.
now.
It's later. You're right. It's later now. That's a great slogan, right?